We are headed to the dyno to find out how much horsepower to the wheels our budget 351 Windsor Stroker build here on the channel actually makes. Will it make good horsepower first time out, or are we gonna have to come back? Stick around, let's go find out. Here on the channel, we built probably one of the most budget stroked out 351 Windsor blocks that you could probably build. And we set it here in our 1990 Ford Mustang Fox body. Built from a combination of multiple different engines. This is the 387 stroker, a stock 351 Windsor block, stock 351 Windsor rods, forged TRW pistons from a 302 8792 block, and a budget Eagle 3.85 stroke crankshaft. And we built this block here on the channel, broke it in, we have tuned it up a little bit, and we're ready to go over to the dyno and see how much horsepower it makes. We're gonna get it loaded up in the trailer, head on over to our friends at TI Dyno, and meet up with the mad scientist, where we're gonna get a nice tune in there and see what it makes on the rollers. Okay, we've landed here at Cragen Automotive, where TI Dyno is located. Got the mad scientist and Kevin over here waiting for us. I'm humbled to have friends like Kevin and Dave here. Still tuning Moats quarter horse. We're still tuning Holly and HP. As you know, Dave does a lot of stuff for us here. The 363, the 408, and the 387. It's not gonna be your typical dyno video. You know, normally we're doing a lot of boost tuning. I can't come to the dyno without worrying about this guy. You know what he said to me? He said, we blow this shit up, we'll just pull it out. We'll fix it right here, right?
Who said that? I did. We got the cherry picker right there.
Hey, you're the machinist. So we got a machine shop back there.
Not pulling it out. If you blow this thing up, notice I didn't say if I blow it. If you blow this thing up, you're taking it home. That's it.
I'll be back tomorrow for you to fix it.
Where's Andrew?
We got everything strapped down. We are ready to make some pulls on a dyno. Now, to be honest with you guys, we're not really here to make a really like big horsepower number. That's not what we're here to do. We make 350, I'll be happy. We make 400, I'll be ecstatic. We make 400 plus, that'd be really good for this dyno. We built this motor on kind of a budget, just some parts that we had laying around the shop. With a little bit of help that we had from our friends here at TI Dyno and my buddy Dave Dalk here in the machine shop, we got this 387 running pretty good. We're ready to make some power. Probably about 12-to-1 compression. A lot of this motor was put together with spare parts. We already had the 351 Windsor block, the 351 Windsor rods. We had Fox body pistons sitting on the shelf for I don't know how many years. And we had the B31 Anderson camshaft that we haven't used since the 363 was naturally aspirated 8 years ago. So I always wanted to build this engine. This is an engine that we had on our to-do list for a long time, and I really wanted to actually build it with the 400 modified crankshaft and the Chrysler 300 6-cylinder rods. You know, we talked about that in machine work would be so much time and money just getting it to work, so we just went ahead and went with the 385 stroker crank, which is the same thing as a 393. So basically what you have here is a stock bore 393. So the format of the video, we're going to be tuning with a Moats quarter horse on an A9L factory computer. And as you guys know, we've been pretty successful with this car. The stock computer, stock harness, much like our white car. We should do a series of pulls probably only have to do 2 or 3 or if you mess around with a little bit of timing and fuel. This isn't a boosted application like we're normally here doing. And on a boosted application, we would definitely be messing around with boost level, boost pressure, and timing and fuel. So it's just a naturally aspirated build. Once again, I'm not looking to make a really big horsepower number. That's not what we're here to do. We're just here not to blow it up. So stick around, we'll see what kind of numbers we make. This was the very first pull, and we could already tell that we had some issues. It seemed like the engine was really working hard to make any power, so we had to figure it out. That's the reason why you come to the dyno. The dyno is kind of a nice tool to use to figure out little things in your build that you wouldn't know was there. Yep, not exactly numbers that we wanted to see. Here's what it is.
I said, is it not easy to push in a straight line?
No, the axle's bent. You shouldn't even be here, really. There's a drag on it. The output on the dyno would matter. So what we should do is just tighten up the tune, and I need to pull this axle out. Now, I didn't really fully realize on how bent this axle was until I actually got it on the ground. Definitely wasn't doing us any favors on the dyno. Very possibly could have been dragging a little bit and giving some sort of parasitic loss on the output number. There's no way that thing makes 312 horsepower. Probably makes good horsepower, and it's almost like it's on a brake rate. So when we initially set up the intake side of the engine, considering this is an X turbo build, I just never really bothered to even move the pipe. Figured it wouldn't be a problem, but I guess I was wrong. I've never ran naturally aspirated through an intercooler. I'm not afraid to admit my mistakes. I had no idea. Got two situations going on with the black car.
Listen to me.
Here we go.
Listen, here we go. If you put that intercooler on a flow bench, okay, at 0 pressure and flow it, I can guarantee you it flows about 280 CFM.
So we're choking my motor because you're not moving any air.
280 CFM.
I should probably disconnect my intercooler that I forgot to do.
I think that'd be a good idea. It might help.
It's 3-inch pipe anyways, but I bet you we put a 4-inch on there, it might make a little bit of a difference. But that axle definitely is dragging. We're gonna disconnect the intercooler and see if we're right there. I mean, that's what you go to the dyno for anyways, to kind of figure out some bullshit. I think one of the issues we have was we got a lot of drag with our bent axle. Not making any excuses, but this is something we needed to do for a while. So we had actually meant to remove the pipe from the intercooler when we were at the shop. We're here showing you raw data on the difference. So this is our second pull, as before we started adding timing after we unhooked it. So we ended up making 370 horsepower, 408 torque to the wheels. We're only in about 24 degrees of timing. Feel like we could add quite a bit more timing and fuel to this build since it's E85. Coming to the dyno is a tool. It allows you to tweak and tune on your build to figure out the things that are holding you back. The intake tube definitely was a restriction. It's not the only restriction we have going on in the engine. Okay, so that made considerable amount of difference. And what we're actually gonna do is take this pipe, and this is like a straight pipe, and we're going to set it up here. So we ended up running a little bit of an elbow here, what used to be our old intercooler pipe, bringing it out the fender much better. Make some pulls, see what happens. So we made a couple more pulls on the dyno, adjusting timing and fuel. When we would actually tune timing in, it didn't like it, and it wasn't really gaining any horsepower. That tells us that we're just not getting enough air in, and we're just not getting enough air out. The motor runs super good. At 370 wheel with issues, it has already exceeded my expectations. So unfortunately, we weren't able to gain any more ground. Got some items that we're gonna be installing the next few days, as we will be back at the dyno in search of our 400 wheel number that we were trying to make. So we definitely didn't make the number that we had expected to make, as I had a goal in mind to make around about 400 wheel. For what the engine is, I'm pretty happy with making 370, 408 to the wheels with what we got going on. But we're not done with the video yet. We figured out on the dyno that this motor wants to make some steam. It's about 12-to-1 compression. As I'm gonna go ahead and install a set of 1.75" long tube headers. Also, we have decided to install a real intake pipe. Things like intake, inlet size, getting air into the motor and getting air out of the motor makes the most efficient power for a naturally aspirated motor. And this gives me an actual opportunity to make a different video just with these long tubes and how they fit, and even show you the power differences between the two. So stay tuned to the next videos where we actually install some parts that should match this motor compared to some of the other ones that were pretty restrictive. So we do make a comparison video between the BBK Shorty 1 5/8" and the long tube 1 3/4, get some airflow out of that motor. We also have an Anderson power pipe we're gonna be matching with the bigger throttle body that we already have. So stick around, we're gonna make one more shot at the dyno to try to achieve our 400 wheel. Comment below, let me know what kind of power you think we're gonna gain from this stuff. I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned, we're not done yet. Got a couple more videos before we move on. Absolute first fire, here we go.